This is a video review of this 54-inch foosball table from GoSports. First thing, a quick look at the instructions. They are well written and detailed, but one minor issue. It says to expect an assembly time of 35 to 45 minutes, and that is definitely a joke. If you just count the number of players on this table, there's 26 players. It takes at least 15 to 20 seconds per player to assemble each of those rods and put the rod on the table. It's at least 20 minutes or so to get just the players installed on the table. It took me over 2 hours to get this table fully assembled. That's not surprising. It's a pretty solid piece of game furniture. I don't expect it to be short and quick, but it definitely took more than 35 to 45 minutes. Now on the assembly, a couple things. The table comes with these cup holders, and so you can see that folds down and then folds flush up against the side of the table. These are held to this table with these tiny little screws, if you can see that. And these screws go right into particle board. There's 4 of them, right in there on the cup holder. I don't expect that to hold up well at all. And so I did not install the cup holders on this table. And that's partly based on my experience with the score tracks, the score rails. These rails screw into that particle board in the same way. And I found that the holes that were pre-drilled for installing this were just almost too big right out of the gate. I was very careful screwing those in, and it stripped the hole right away. I did kind of a woodworker trick where I took toothpicks, jammed them in there, broke them off, and then screwed these screws into the toothpicks. And now they hold firmly in place. I don't expect to have problems with it right away, but this is going to be one of the first points of failure on the table, are these rails for keeping score. A couple other common points of failure on these tables are going to be the bushings, which right now are great. They're new, they're smooth, they work fantastic. There's no easy way to remove these bushings from this table. There's no exposed screws, so those bushings are not going to be easy to replace. When those bushings wear out, it is possible to find replacements. They're a standard size, but it's going to be very hard to get these bushings off of the table to replace them. Another common point of failure are the bumpers and the actual players themselves, which can snap or crack. And both of those are easy to find replacements for online. The challenge with the players is going to be finding the same color as a replacement. I don't see replacements from GoSports. I've checked their website, I've looked on Amazon, and you can find other brands to replace them with, which means over time the colors may not match on the table. So that's something I'm keeping in mind because I know how these tables go in the long run. A couple other things to know about the table. It is an American format. There's 3 players at the goalie. I'm used to the European format of just 1 player at the goalie, and but that's fine. This is the American setup, and it's good. There are a couple dead spots on the table, so if the ball ends up back in any one of the far 4 corners, it'll be trapped, and you have to pull it out and start play over. I've seen tables. It's more common, I think, with the single player goalie here. I've seen tables that have a slant in the corners to keep the ball from getting trapped up in the corners, and this table doesn't have that. So your ball can get trapped in the corner. It can get trapped between rails, just like that. So there's a couple of dead spots on the table. That's kind of to be expected, and you just have to pull it out and start play over. The playing field is sort of a laminate on particle board, so it's a plastic laminate on particle board. It's a very fast-moving field, and so when you really get going, the ball will actually slide instead of rolling if you hit it really hard and you're playing back and forth. And that's okay. It just makes for really fast motion on the field, on the table. But it's still a lot of fun. I'm finding that I've got good ball control with these players, and so I'm able to control the ball the way I would expect to, and play it out pretty nicely on the table. In general, the assembly is very solid. So other than the couple of issues I pointed out where you've got screws going straight into particle board on the rail and for the cup holders if you install them, in other areas of the table where the legs attach to the play surface and where the play surface assembles to itself to hold the field itself in place, those are all attached by metal going into metal. So the screws that go through there, the bolts that go through there, bolt into a metal piece on the other side of them that holds things together. So it's metal to metal with particle board in between, and I expect that to hold up pretty well over time. So all in all, a fantastic table. We've played a dozen or so games on it, having a lot of fun with this, just as a family game room edition, and really, an excellent table for what it is. At the current price on Amazon, about $250. It's a fantastic table at that price, and I expect to get a lot of good use and a lot of good play out of it.